to the early morning and the late night last night with the draft, and she is back for more. And Marcus is up, ready to go. Play in tonight. We got Schragers ready to go. We got RC and Jeff Darlington ready to go, and it begins with a surprise development, 9 days and counting from the NFL draft. Here's one I did not see coming. Adam Schefter is reporting that Shedeur Sander will hold one last private workout Thursday with the New York Giants, who hold the 3rd overall pick in the draft before the draft next Thursday, and he wants a little time with them. Again, Darlington will be with us in a minute. RC is rolling. Schragers, we start with you. What does this mean?
There's something to this. Look, they have already sent 13 different people, Greeny, to the pro day at Colorado, meaning there's a GM, obviously, but a coaching staff and the front office personnel. They went to many of his games in person. Joe Schoen attended a Colorado practice in person. And I could tell you that this private workout is not just for show. They wanted Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter with the 3rd overall pick. I would say that's more likely. I'll mention this. They brought him in for a private workout in his top 30 visit. The Giants took him out to dinner, and he had that experience also. They are getting to know Shedeur Sander far more than they are getting to know a lot of other prospects in this draft. And I don't take it lightly. And RC, I'm curious your thoughts. When this guy is wearing cleats that have a Giants logo at the bowl game all the way back in January. So there's something to this. What's it mean? 3 overall, or maybe them just interested in whether or not he drops? That could be a likely possibility as well. But the Giants are not wasting their time 9 days from the draft going and flying out to Boulder, Colorado.
All right, so that's a perfect setup for it. We've got Darlington ready to go. I'll get right to you, but we got Darlington's technology working here. That's the way, Jeff, it struck me when I heard this. It could mean one of two things. And I think it's sort of 50-50. One, the Giants are really seriously considering taking him at 3, which is the opposite of what we'd been led to believe for the last few weeks. Or 2, and maybe more likely, they're starting to get a sense that he may fall far enough that they could be thinking about drafting him sometime in the 20s if they trade up. Jeff, I'll give you the floor. What do we got?
Well, Greeny, I think this is probably a cliche to say, but every GM around the league does their due diligence on quarterbacks, oftentimes when they don't even have a chance to take a quarterback. The Giants sitting at 3 certainly with that opportunity. And by the way, there's a reason to take him at 3rd overall. I'm a little bit with Schragers in the standpoint that I think that ultimately this could be potentially move up, because as been made clear to me, the Giants acquiring 2 veteran quarterbacks, one of which is Russell Wilson this offseason, is so that they have the flexibility to not have to draft a quarterback at 3rd overall. They like the spot that they're in right now. Quite frankly, getting to know Sanders does not mean they're taking him 3rd overall.
All right, so that is how the table is set. RC, what do you think?
I don't need to get to know you this well if I want to move back up into the 1st round. I need to get to know you this well if I want to draft you 3rd overall. If the last quarterback I drafted in the top 10 ended up being a bust and is no longer on the team, if my job depends on how well we do this season or how well or how much I can show you from a young developing quarterback, then that's why I want to get to know you this well. I don't think I need to know you more than I've gotten to know you. We heard Peter Schragers say we had people at games. They had 13 people in contingent. He went to out to damn dinner. He's been there for meetings. He had a top 30 visit. I don't need to go back and really check and dot more I's and cross more T's if I'm going to move back up into the 1st round. But if I'm going to draft you 3rd overall, if I'm going to pass up on an Abdul Carter or a Travis Hunter, if they're there at 3, 2 people that we feel like are can't-miss positional players to draft a quarterback, that's why I need to get to know you. That's why I need some intimacy. That's why I need to know what type of human you are, what type of leader you are. That's why I need to see a little bit more than what I saw at Pro Day in your controlled environment. And so for me, this is about number 3. This is about drafting the guy top 3, drafting the guy 3 overall, because I want to be absolutely sure that as I stake my job on you, you're the guy I need to pick.
I kind of feel the same way, but it just flies in the face of everything that we've been told. Jeff, you look ready to dive in. Go.
Sometimes general managers will do this because they want to make sure that they should pass on a guy. Like the Giants might be sitting here saying, we're not taking Sanders at 3. Are we sure that is the right play? So sometimes it's not about getting to know a guy so you take him. Sometimes it's about getting to know a guy so you don't.
The plot thickens. Go ahead,
Which
RC.
is fine. Which is fine, though. And that's fine. But what I'm telling you is it's about the third pick. This isn't about something down the line. This isn't about a maybe. This isn't about, okay, I don't know if something happens if they pass on him. This is about that pick because that pick is that important. And you're right, Jeff. You can't be wrong if you're the New York Giants. If your mind is saying we're not going to draft him, you can't be wrong about that either. Because Joe Shane or Brian Daboll could be out of a job if Russell or Jameis doesn't do the job this year. And if Shedeur is picked at 9 and becomes the rookie of the year, that's a mistake that this group of individuals cannot afford.
Something worth noting when we're talking about the Giants here. They also met with Abdul Carter very recently, and I think one of the cardinal sins of that organization is not drafting Micah Parsons a couple of years ago out of Penn State, who was a chess piece on defense, and they decided to trade back, and then they ended up getting Kadarius Toney, and it's a nightmare if you look back on it now. I think this organization, if Abdul Carter's sitting there at 3, I think it would have to be a real leap of faith, and they would have to love Shedeur Sanders to take him over Abdul Carter this go-around.
All right, so that actually makes a lot of sense. Abdul Carter, for those who haven't followed it closely, no, I mean, it's impossible to say anyone is going to be the next Micah Parsons, but boy, if you're looking for someone who checks all of the obvious boxes, including coming from the same college and wearing the same number, he's got all of those things going for him. Final word on it for the moment, RC, and we'll get back to it with much more. But do you believe the Giants should take him at 3?
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I don't know. And it's not about whether or not Shedeur Sanders is a very good player. It's not about whether or not the Giants can win with him. It's about what they feel about Shedeur Sanders. You are doing your due diligence because you need to be in love with him to use the 3rd overall pick to pick a quarterback. And so for me, it's, does he make you better this year, or is he your franchise quarterback for the next decade and a half? And if you can't answer that question with a resounding yes, then my answer to that question is absolutely not. He is a forever pick. He is not a guy that you can swing and miss on.
100% right. All right, you guys stay right where you are. We have much more.
Self-explanatory. You want some cheese, some first-round picks? In line to make some. Shedeur Sanders has been linked to 9 different teams, depending on what latest mock you've seen, including the Saints, who own the 9th overall pick. He does plan on meeting with the Giants, who hold the number 3 pick on Thursday. He has already met with the Raiders, who have the 6th overall pick. It is now time for us to meet for the first time on this program with Peter Schragers. Hey. Peter, fantastic to see you. Here to offer up some clarity on the carousel. What does this upcoming meeting with the Giants mean for Shedeur?
Well, there is something to this. The Giants have seen Shedeur Sanders quite a bit. They sent 13 different people from their organization to the pro day. Joe Shane, the GM, has actually been to a practice in several of Shedeur's games. And they brought him into East Rutherford and had a